Let's get right to your top headlines. These stories are real new now. Cold weather can make many jobs difficult, and our police officers are no exception. We ride along with a Springfield Police Department officer to find out the difficulties of the job when the temperatures drop below freezing.
A measure approved by voters in 2018 could be back on the ballot in 2020. What Republican lawmakers say voters got wrong about Clean Missouri.
And Chiefs fans come out to support the champs. We show you the sea of red that descended on downtown KC for the Chiefs victory parade. Ozarks Fox News at 9 starts right now.
Real, new, now. This is Ozarks Fox News at 9.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jennifer Abreu.
And I'm John Adams. Our top story tonight, the weather and the lack of snowfall we saw here in Springfield. Here at the station, we put together a time-lapse video of weather outside. While most of us were expecting heavy snow, sleet and freezing rain greatly lowered the totals here in town. Now, as you can see, there was just never that wave of snow that we were anticipating. Today just turned into a gray, wet, and cold day out there.
Let's take a look at MoDOT Traveler's map. Just because Springfield didn't receive significant snowfall doesn't mean the roads aren't slick. Temperatures are near or below freezing, and the ground and roads are wet. Looking at the map, you can see here in the Springfield area, roads are either mostly clear or partly covered, but could be slick to drive on. With the low temperatures we're seeing, road conditions appear to worsen as you move north of Springfield.
Well, making local news tonight, when temperatures drop like they have over the past few days, police officers are one group of people who have no choice but to adapt to the cold and continue working. Working
in the cold can actually affect how officers go about their day. Our Francis Lynn spoke to the Springfield Police Department about the difficulties they face during cold winter days. Francis, what did you learn?
Officers told me when it really is cold outside, not only do they have to constantly switch officers on and off scenes, they also have to be aware of how the weather can affect physical evidence at crime scenes. For example, blood may be outside in a parking lot and freezing rain can wash it away. And sometimes officers may have to stand outside all night directing traffic or be at a standoff. In some cases, officers can't even wear gloves because they could interfere with a touch screen on a computer or using any equipment. And driving in cold temperatures is also something officers have to do that's always more dangerous.
A little more treacherous. In the traffic unit we respond to the majority of the traffic accidents. And of course there's always more of those when the roads are slick. I would ask people pay attention to the road. When we work a lot of traffic accidents, especially on the highway, we get rubberneckers and you get secondary accidents, tertiary accidents from people watching the first accident.
There are about the same number of officers working on winter weather days compared to a normal day. The weather does not affect the way the department schedules officers at all.
All right, Francis, thank you. While Springfield may not have seen the type of snow that many were expecting, drivers around the area were still prepared for the worst today. Now, we wanted to head out and talk to some of those who decided against taking a snow day today. One of the drivers we spoke to, Paul Betzold, said he noticed that ramps and bridges were a little bit slippery. Another driver, Ann Oliver, said she had no problem getting around. But with temperatures around or below the freezing mark, both drivers had advice should those roads get a little worse as we head in toward the evening.
Take off slowly, start slowing down early, pump your brake, downshift, whatever you can do to avoid slamming on the brake. Four-wheel drive helps you get going, but it doesn't help you stop.
I usually keep distance between me and the car in front of me and make sure that I have plenty of stoppage time and drive slower, which is kind of a challenge sometimes.
Moving to political coverage now.
The Senate adjudges that the respondent, Donald John Trump, President of the United States, is not guilty as charged.
Earlier this evening, in a historical vote, United States senators voted largely along party lines as expected, leading to the acquittal of President Donald Trump in his impeachment trial. Republican senators made it clear they did not believe the president committed an impeachable offense in his dealings with Ukraine. Senator Mitt Romney was the only Republican voting to convict the president. Stick around. We'll have much more coverage coming up for you tonight at 9:30.
Well, and here in Missouri, the state Senate is moving forward with a repeal of the redistricting aspect of Clean Missouri, a state constitutional amendment passed by voters back in 2018. This is after state Senate Democrats held a filibuster that was not enough to stop a vote yesterday. Now, our Madison Heaver spoke with a lawmaker and our political analyst, Dr. Brian Calfano, as well. Madison, what are they saying is important about this proposed resolution?
Yeah, John, it's Senate Joint Resolution 38. Now, it changes a very specific thing from the Clean Missouri Amendment voters approved 2 years ago. Under the voter-approved current Amendment 1, the auditor is to choose a nonpartisan state demographer to draw district lines. This resolution would do away with the state demographer and instead rely on current bipartisan commissions in both the House and Senate to draw the lines themselves. Republicans say they're doing this to prevent the state demographer from drawing district lines that favor Democrats. Democrats say doing away with the state demographer overturns the will of the voters. Ozarks Fox political analyst Brian Calfano says it's more about politics.
In the end, it's about political control, and the Republicans don't want to have their supermajorities threatened. Meanwhile, the Democrats want to get in the game and get some more seats.
I also talked with Republican State Senator Lincoln Huff. While he wouldn't give me a straight answer whether he supports the resolution or not, he did tell me what's important to him.
I am not comfortable right now fixing what I would call a hypothetical problem based on some unknown what if. What if this new state demographer draws district in one way or another? This is an unknown, in my opinion, at this point. I'm concerned about our community being divided by a redistricting process.
The resolution will have to be read and voted on a third time before heading to the Missouri House of Representatives, where changes could be made. If it passes all the different avenues and make changes and is vetted, it'll end up on a ballot for you to vote on again.
Thank you, Madison. Looking around the region now, the threat of winter weather couldn't keep Chiefs fans from flocking to the heart of Chiefs Kingdom to celebrate its first Super Bowl win in 50 years. Today, downtown streets in Kansas City turned into a full-on party. Several schools even closed so fans could celebrate history with the Chiefs. More than 1 million people were expected to pack the route down Grand Boulevard from 6th Street to Union Station. After the parade, a rally was held at Union Station, and February 5th was declared Kansas City Chiefs Day in Jackson County. As for the players, the MVP, Patrick Mahomes, clearly was thrilled to bring the Lombardi Trophy back to KC, especially for his head coach, Andy Reid.
When I became the starter for Kansas City, the first thing I wanted to do was bring the Lamar Hunt Trophy back to Kansas City, back to this organization. And the second most important thing I wanted to do was get the Lombardi Trophy for the greatest coach of all time, Andy Reid, baby.
Well, a scary scene before the festivities that we want to show you tonight. A driver and passenger are in custody following a police chase this morning near the parade route. The driver is suspected to have been impaired and entered the route on the north end, wanting to go on a joyride on the path itself. Police were able to chase down the vehicle and stop it from going any further. No officers or people in the parade, including the two suspects, were injured in that incident.
Well, checking in with Jamie at the Weather Lab. Jamie, not a lot of snow for us, unfortunately, in my opinion. What are we expecting overnight?
Well, in the snow game, sometimes it's a game of only miles. And